So I've just been watching and editing the Doris Loves Boris interview, and wow, it's kind of embarrassing to actually watch. Educational to see people let their guard down a little bit and talk more freely and openly, but you know what, between cows, between rhyming silly wording for describing political opponents, and the whole sychophantic love story that is not a love story between Doris in her head and Boris not at all, is, like I say, embarrassing to watch. Anyway, I've got it here. Just watch it. Make up your own mind.
Tonight, a Boris Johnson exclusive. He spills the beans on life inside Number 10 in his most candid interview since stepping down.
Here we go, Nadine.
Hey!
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
I know you, and I know you are the very last person ever who would willingly, without being dragged there, go to a party. Boris, I know you're not going to like me saying this, but you're not actually big on the small talk and parties. And you're the last person who would be at one. Do you think it was wrong? Sorry, but you're not. You're just not a party animal.
Right.
Do you?
I'll take it from you, Nadine. OK, all right.
So, do you think it was wrong of you to focus all your attention on making sure we made the vaccine, we delivered the vaccine, we were one of the first countries to lift restrictions? Or do you think you should have been prowling the corridors of 10 Downing Street in that warren of officers, checking up on 250 employees and asking them what they were doing on the Friday nights when you were in Checkers?
Look, as you know, there's a parliamentary committee looking into some aspects of this. And I better be,
of course,
respectful of them. But I just repeat what I've said before, and I hope is obvious to everybody that anybody who thinks I was knowingly going to parties that were breaking lockdown rules in Number 10, or then knowingly covering up parties that were illicit, that were other people going to, that's all strictly for the birds. If anybody thinks that they're out of their mind, I've got to wait for this thing to conclude. And what I would say is that we all thought what we were doing, or certainly I thought what we were doing, was within the rules. And what we certainly thought was we were working blindingly hard on some massive priorities for the country. So what we were doing was getting that vaccine rollout organised. We were thinking desperately about how to, went through lots of phases, how to ramp up testing and all the rest of it. I mean, it seems, thank goodness, that era is behind us. But one thing one thing people forget, let's pray it's behind us, but one thing people forget when I'm thinking about the vaccine rollout is, we've got the third anniversary of Brexit coming up, or the third anniversary of the day when we actually came out of the EU. And you don't hear it much these days, but it is absolutely the case that had it not been for our ability to do our own regulation, had it not been for the fact that we come out of the European Medicines Agency, and the MHRA, the Medical Health Regulation Agency, was now totally free to decide how fast to approve a vaccine, we wouldn't have been able to do that vaccine rollout so fast. And, it is literally true that Brexit helped save lives. And, people's eyes bulge a bit when you say that, but it happens to be true.
And it's something we didn't hear a lot at the time.
I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all the work that those people did.
So, you and Rishi were both fined. He lived in a flat above Number 10. You lived above Number 11, and he's been fined again now. Is Rishi some kind of out of control maverick, do you think?
Look, let me be very clear. As politicians say, when the fact is that the Conservative Party can certainly win the next election. And
can we?
Yes,
Labour at 29 points ahead in the polls. Can we win the next election?
We've got about, let me get this right, we've got
we're in a worse position than 97 today.
We've got almost 2 years to to go before there has to be an election. I mean, I think you don't have to have an election until January 25. So that's almost 2 years.
But we're not going to. We're not going to go to January 25, are we?
You talk about 97. I remember 97. I fought the... Did you fight the 97? You didn't. You're far too young to have fought.
I was running a campaign. I wasn't.
Yeah, but okay, you're far too young to have fought.
I'm older than you.
I fought the 97 election. I was there, and I remember what it was like. And it was really, really tough. And you had... you know, I could just feel that you could feel this movement of voters actively who wanted Tony Blair, and that is just not happening now. I don't feel it. The Sir Crasharoony snooze fest, the human bollard, you know, Keir Starmer. That is, he thinks that he's going to get people to vote Labour just by standing there and doing that. It's not going to happen. The economy will start to improve, inflation will come down, people will reward the Conservative Party, they'll reward the government for being sensible, for cutting their taxes, and for getting things done that they need done, fixing the things that Rishi has said that he's going to fix. And never forget, when it comes to it, it's going to be a very clear choice. Do you want the Conservatives, who are going to manage the economy sensibly, not put taxes up any further, in fact, cut taxes? I mean, of course, the taxation situation has been very, very difficult because of COVID. The huge expense that we had to go to, 480 billion we had to spend on looking after people during COVID. It was massively expensive. It had a big fiscal impact. But Labour, everything they say makes it perfectly obvious that the taxes would be even higher. They're not in a position to control the unions because they're actually funded by the unions. I think that you'd have a very interesting situation. They would be gravitationally sucked back into the orbit of the EU. I think that'd be very wrong for the country. It would lose us a lot of opportunities that we currently have. The final point: this is a very tense time internationally, and people want the UK to be strong. And you know, we've talked a bit about what the UK has done on Ukraine. And I do think that the UK has been absolutely indispensable in helping to fortify the West and to give the Ukrainians the support they need. Will that happen? Would you have a robust, strong UK under a Labour Party when you have 8 of the shadow front bench, including the shadow Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, you talk about Putin waving the nuclear weapon. 8 of them have voted to get rid of our independent nuclear weapon. And would you have a government that really stood up for our armed forces, Nadine, when Lisa Nandy, who I'm sure has some role on the Labour front bench, I can't remember exactly what it is now, but she has said she wants to get rid of our armed services in favour of a gender-neutral security agency or something. So, look, all I'm saying...
Shadow levelling up secretary.
Thank you, sorry. How do you know that? Incredibly clever,
I just know some things.
It
is unfashionable.
It is totally unfashionable. I find the Pink Panther films almost sort of, you know, I laugh so much that I almost black out.
Me too.
So, you know, but I watch it by some of my older children. They love it too. They love it too. But who was I watching it with? My children love it. Some people are just absolutely kind of stony-faced about this. And anyway.
Can you do a Clouseau impersonation?
I think it'd be very wrong. I'm not going to. But what I do... No. This is not the time, Cato. What I like is... I do like the thing when Clouseau gets his manservant Cato to test his reflexes by. I often think about how to organise that, and I sometimes think I should get my executive assistant Anne Sindel, you know,
to get a baton hammer on you,
ambush me.
Cato, release me, you fool!
Inspector Clouseau's residence.
In the telephone, you idiot.
Those are great films.
Boris, how'd you chill out?
I paint and I draw very, very badly. I'm trying to.
I've seen your paint, your drawing. You do draw very well.
I love paint. At the moment, I've got a project which is to master the form of the cow. So the cow. Cows are actually far more difficult to draw than you think. How many toes on the front does a cow have?
4.
No, it's
How many is it?
It's 2.
2.
And they've got a little thing on the heel, and what do you call that bit of the cow?
I have no idea.
It's called I think it's called the withers. What do you call the back of the knee of the cow?
The back of the knee?
No, the hock. The hock. You got anyway. They repay a lot of study, and so I'm filling a book now with cow drawings.
Pictures of a cow.
Pictures of parts of a cow, and a lot of whole cows, and.
You're spending too much time in the country.
My objective is to master the cow.
Okay.
And I'm getting there.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
The next stop, the horse. After that.
That'd be more difficult.
No, the horse is not there.
So if you're stuck in the lift, who would you rather be stuck in the lift with? Keir Starmer or Nicola Sturgeon?
Oh, brother. Well, actually, it's like all these things, and I'm sure the viewers would understand this. Both individuals are actually far nicer and more amusing than you might otherwise imagine, and the kind of hostility that you see between politicians on screen is often not reflected in real life. I think, provided it was provided it wasn't like 50 floors, I wouldn't mind either.
So what's your death row meal?
My death row meal?
Yeah.
You got to be careful. You got to get this right. It's always got to be the same answer. Tony Blair always used to give different answers. I think it's bangers and mash, isn't it?
That's a good one.
I think bangers, mash, and red
wine. With gravy?
Yes. Why not gravy? Yes.
Can you cook?
I can cook bangers and mash and gravy, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that? Have I passed? Okay.
I think you've passed.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show,
My first
Nadine,
show.
Your first show, and good luck with it.
I nearly wet myself then.
It was
This
great.
is terrifying.